The CEO of Bugatti just stood in front of cameras and said the airbags in a crashed Chiron are so specialized, so unique, that only Bugatti can handle them. Same day, a mechanic in the UK pulled the part numbers, found them in an Audi A3. That's not a typo, A3. And if you're wondering why a billion-dollar hypercar company would lie about something that easy to verify, you're about to find out exactly how dirty this fight really is. Matt Armstrong's friend bought a wrecked Bugatti Chiron at auction, paid for it, owns it, started rebuilding it. Then Bugatti made a phone call, not to the owner, to the parts suppliers. And just like that, every component needed to finish the rebuild got blocked. No lawyers, no court orders, just a quiet conversation that shut down the entire supply chain. And if you think that's legal protection, you're about to see exactly what Bugatti's really protecting. Before we go further, hit subscribe. This story is about to expose how luxury brands control cars they don't even own anymore, and you're not going to want to miss what happens next. Bugatti's official story is this: the car is too dangerous to repair. Airbags are Chiron-specific. Frame integrity can't be verified outside the factory. They're protecting the brand, protecting future owners, protecting everyone. Except none of that explains why they didn't buy the car themselves at auction. They knew it was listed, they knew it sold. They watched someone else pay for it, take ownership, and start the rebuild. Then they made the calls. That's not protection, that's control. And the moment you understand what they're actually trying to control, the whole story changes. And here's the thing, Bugatti's not just fighting Matt. They're fighting the idea that you can't control a product after it's sold. They're fighting 2 decades of right to repair momentum. They're fighting EU consumer law. They're fighting the reality that information doesn't stay hidden anymore. This parts blockade was supposed to be invisible. It became a public dissection of how luxury brands maintain control. And Bugatti handed Matt the smoking gun. One more thing, there's a rumor, unconfirmed but circulating in the industry, that Bugatti didn't expect Matt to have connections outside the VW parts network. They expected the blockade to be absolute. A rebuild stopped before it started. What they got instead was a creator who saw the blockade, understood the leverage, and turned the whole thing into a story about corporate overreach. Let's talk about what Bugatti doesn't want you to see: shared parts. The Chiron is supposed to be the pinnacle of automotive engineering, hand-built, exclusive, untouchable. But when you start pulling parts, you find components that aren't Chiron-specific at all. Airbag modules cross-referenced to Audi, sensors shared with Porsche, electronics that show up in VW Group parts catalogs. And here's the kicker: those parts cost a fraction of what Bugatti charges when you go through them. This isn't about safety, it's about pricing power. The second Matt puts this car back together on camera and shows the world what's actually inside, Bugatti loses the mystique that justifies the margins. Bugatti didn't need lawyers, they didn't need court orders, they just called their suppliers and said don't ship. And because Bugatti is part of the VW Group, because they control access to parts pipelines across multiple brands, those suppliers listened. No legal justification required, no paperwork, just leverage. And here's the problem: that kind of power only works if nobody talks about it. The second this becomes public, the second people understand that Bugatti can remotely kill a rebuild on a car they don't own, the whole system gets exposed. And that's exactly what's happening right now. Alex owns the car, legally, completely. Under US and EU law, once you buy something at auction, it's yours. You can modify it, you can repair it, you can part it out if you want. The manufacturer has no residual rights unless there's a specific contract in place, and there wasn't one here. So Bugatti's move isn't a legal play, it's a supply chain blockade. They can't stop the rebuild in court, so they're stopping it at the source. No parts, no rebuild. No rebuild, no exposure. And if Matt's friend had just quietly walked away, this strategy would have worked perfectly. Except Matt didn't walk away, and that's when the story flipped. Matt's got reach. Millions of subscribers. A rebuild channel that's built entirely on transparency. Show the work, show the parts, show the costs. That's the format. And Bugatti just handed him the biggest story of his career. Every video he makes about this, parts blockade, is another million views. Another wave of people asking why Bugatti's so scared of a rebuild. Another data point showing that the unrepairable Chiron uses off-the-shelf components. Bugatti tried to silence him, they amplified him, and now they're stuck because backing down makes them look weak, and pushing forward makes them look desperate. Here's the mid-script reality check. If Bugatti actually believed this car was a safety risk, if they genuinely thought it could hurt someone, there's a very simple solution. Offer to buy it back, pay cost plus expenses, destroy the car, move on. They didn't do that. They left it in the owner's hands and just made it impossible to fix. That tells you everything. This was never about safety. It was about reputation. And the moment they chose reputation over actually removing the dangerous car from circulation, they lost the moral high ground. Now let's talk about who's helping Matt. Mansory. And if you know anything about the hypercar world, that name just changed the entire fight. Mansory is old school industry power. They've been customizing high-end cars for decades. They have access to parts pipelines Bugatti can't easily control. They've built relationships with suppliers across the VW group and beyond. And they don't care about Bugatti's parts blockade because Mansory's business model is literally taking cars Bugatti sells and making them more exclusive. Bugatti can pressure VW suppliers. Here's the other angle no one's talking about. Bugatti doesn't just lose this fight if the rebuild succeeds. They lose every time someone else tries to fix a crashed hypercar and points to Matt's case. They lose every time a parts supplier gets exposed for blocking shipments without legal cause. They lose every time someone realizes that the $400,000 service interval is built on the idea that only Bugatti can touch these cars, and that idea just got shattered. This isn't about one Chiron, it's about whether Bugatti can maintain the fiction of unrepairable exclusivity, and Matt's rebuild is the stress test they can't afford to fail. So here's where we are. Bugatti's CEO lied about the airbags. The parts blockade is falling apart. The safety argument collapsed. Mansory's involved. Matt's got millions of eyes on this. And the car is still sitting in the owner's garage, proving this was never about protecting anyone. Bugatti's next move determines whether this ends quietly or becomes a precedent they can't control. But here's what we still don't know. How far is Bugatti willing to go? Because right now they're blocking parts on a car they claim is too dangerous to exist, but they haven't offered to buy it back, haven't destroyed it, haven't done anything except make it harder for the legal owner to repair his own property. And that raises a question they can't answer. If the car's really that dangerous, why is it still out there? Why leave it in private hands if it's a safety risk? Unless the danger was never real. Unless this was always about control. And if that's true, if Bugatti's entire justification just fell apart under the weight of their own contradictions, then this fight is already over. We just don't know it yet. If it's truly a safety risk, private ownership makes no sense, which means either the danger was manufactured or this was always a power grab. And once you see that Bugatti's entire framework collapses under its own logic, you realize the battle's already been won. We're just waiting to notice. Drop a comment if you think Bugatti backs down or doubles down on the blockade. Because one way or another, we're about to find out what happens when a billion-dollar brand picks a fight it can't win.